Okay, here we are, another Good Gut Live, and this is always a special one where we get to welcome in our amazing integrative dietitians that are on the Married to Health team. So, Maggie, we'll start with you. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Maggie Collins. I'm dietitian, diabetes educator. Also have a certification in lifestyle medicine.
Beautiful, Rachel, go for it.
Hi, I'm Rachel Kent Frias, registered dietitian and certified gastrointestinal nutritionist, and I specialize in gut focused nutrition.
Damaris, intro.
Hi, I'm Damaris. I'm also a registered dietitian on the Married to Health team. I love working with kids, families, and people trying to manage chronic diseases, metabolic diseases. And I'm also working on my doctorate in naturopathic medicine.
Beautiful. And I'm James Marin. I'm an integrative registered dietitian, environmental nutritionist, one of the co-founders of Married to Health. Today's topic is really cool. It's all about pesticides. What should you do about pesticides? Are pesticides in your food? Do you think about that? Do you question that? Are you concerned about that? We'll get into organic and conventional. So if that interests you, because we do get that question a lot. We see it on social media. We hear it from our patients. Does organic really matter? So we're going to get into that. On top of that, what really made us want to discuss this a bit today was a lot of attention is going to the current appropriations bill. And I know once I start even saying appropriations bill and talking about politics, it's like there's people that yawn and there's people that rage. And so it's like we're gonna just get into it. No really political divide here because we feel, and I think we all feel we can definitely get into it and discuss it. But I know I feel that this is an issue that affects everyone. Everyone eats, everyone is exposed to certain chemicals. So what's being proposed, it's section 453 of the new appropriations bill that's looking to be passed in the next couple of weeks. It's going through the House and the Senate and all of this, and then it'll eventually get approved by the president. But it's passing through a section, and we'll get into let's just get right into it. What is this even? What is the language here? What's being proposed? So what everyone's up in arms about and why we're talking about this today is section 543. It's within the House Interior Appropriations Bill. It seeks to grant pesticide manufacturers immunity from lawsuits related to health effects from their products. So, and this is even if new scientific evidence emerges showing harm. So it's almost like, hey, grandfather us in, protect us. And what this means is, I'm guessing, we'll see all the details, but what's crazy is this can be an 1,000-page, maybe even more. I think there's some on record with bills and appropriation bills being like 5,000 pages. And they go, we're just going to add this little section into that. And so you don't really have enough time and you're going, oh, what's this little section on? And when, thank goodness, someone found this section, was like, wait a minute, this is huge, and it's gotten a lot of attention. But what they'll end up doing is going, okay, the manufacturers, and let's name some of them, like Bayer, Monsanto. If you find, oh, that chemical that you are spraying around your house or that is going onto your food does cause health issues, then the US taxpayer will usually front the money to support the lawsuit, not Bayer Monsanto. Right now, you can sue, and actually, I'm going to pull that up. For those not familiar, Monsanto, and this is got into the Monsanto files. There was a massive Monsanto lawsuit. I want to say this was 2018, which time flies. Time is like it's
Yes.
very, was it 2018? Is that? But it was a massive lawsuit against Monsanto. So it was Roundup and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and they won. It was a massive lawsuit in which they won, which then prompted Bayer to buy Monsanto, which is now it's called Bayer Monsanto. Monsanto is slowly dissolving. So that's important context there for those that aren't aware. Many of these companies were sued in record amounts of money because of the health damages and the health effects being seen from pesticide. But I don't know if were you going to chime in, Rachel, on that or?
No, I was just, you said time flies, and I was like,
Oh
yes.
yeah, it does. Or I'm like, man, when was that lawsuit? I'm looking it up, but I think it was like 2019. I feel like it was before the whole pandemic, but it was very interesting. It was something in the record of like billions of dollars, and depending what was paid out. And it was one major figure was a landscaper who had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he basically developed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma after being a landscaper for a university for some time. And what's really interesting about a lawsuit as well is that in litigation you're able to unearth a lot of these files, and there were many books written about this. There's a book of Monsanto files where it was a lot of the files that were unearthed during this lawsuit, showing that Monsanto knew how dangerous this chemical was, showing that many of the studies did point to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma risk. So it was all downhill for them in that lawsuit. But what's funny is when it doesn't get a lot of media attention, when I think it did get a lot of attention only because there were so many citizen scientists and moms and nonprofits really pushing it to the forefront of media. And they were like, okay, fine, we'll cover this story. But it was very quickly out of the news cycle. I can't even remember the date. It's like there's so much news. The news cycle now is like every 5 seconds, where like, when was that? 5 years ago, 20 years ago? And it's just so quickly gone where you quickly forget, and you still see people spraying Roundup on their front yards. And it's like, okay, what does that do for the health of our bodies? What is being sprayed on our food? And not only do we really not get to know what's being sprayed on our food, now that what I think what's a big slap in the face is now they're proposing a section to be amended by our own government to say, even if you do find out and you do know it's causing your health problems, you can't do anything about it. It's just such a slap in the face. I don't know how, that's how I feel, but I don't know if anyone wants to add to that. But I mean, right? I mean, would you guys agree? It's just a slap in the face by people who are here to help us and protect us. It doesn't make sense.
I think
Yeah,
it builds distrust in a lot of institutions and builds distrust with science, things that hopefully you were trying to trust more and more. But
Yeah.
yeah, it feels very one-sided, like you said. It's just protecting those big corporations, versus the consumer who many times may not even be aware of, where you're getting this exposure from, right? Maybe you're not using that pesticide, but maybe your neighbor is, and the wind is carrying to your property, right?
Yeah, that's what I find most alarming, is that it's something that is so widespread. This is not something that is uncommon. It's so common, and like you're saying, it can't even be you that's using it. It's affecting the soil and the food and the air. So it's, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did find it here. I pulled it up. It was a groundskeeper, and the original lawsuit was 289 million, which is honestly, it's not that big for someone like Monsanto, which is now Bayer Monsanto. But this was in 2018, and he ended up accepting about 78 million, which is great for him. But you see, I mean, we won a lawsuit. Like, people can sue. We can hold these chemical companies accountable. We can sue and we can win. And so again, it's not much, because I think even within a fiscal year, they're making billions in terms of their revenue. So 289 million, even especially when it comes to someone's health and giving them cancer. And he did go on to pass. I believe he passed in 2019 or 2020. But it's very concerning to now say, hey, this isn't even a possibility anymore, where even if you do find negative health effects, even if something negative does happen to your health, this isn't even a possibility. It's we're going to pass this bill to say, you know what, we're exempt. So Bayer Monsanto, you're completely safe. Bayer Monsanto, just continue to make questionable chemicals, spray it everywhere, whether it's on our schools, our parks, our homes, and our food, and we won't say anything about it, which is insane. So I think that's why we're talking about it, and then that's why So many are just bringing this up. I know it's all over my feed on like Instagram and social media, but yeah, it's very insane. Um, and then this gets to, I mean, us as dietitians, why even talk about this, right? We do know, and there's lots of studies, whether it's conventional versus organic, or there's just studies in general, or there's citizen scientists where there's a great organization, Moms Across America, who do their own testing of food products. And whether it is large meta-analyses or it's citizen scientists showing that there are pesticide residues in our food. And this is something that's come up with our patients. This is something that's come up for as long as we've been dietitians, really, and even before we were dietitians. But the question of organic, does it even do anything? Does it help? The question of, oh, should I be concerned about these pesticide residues on my food? What is that actually doing to my gut health and beyond, right? The health of my children and all of that. Have you guys I mean, what would you say? Are your patients asking you all that, or has that come up at all?
Yeah, I would say absolutely.
Yeah. And so, yeah, and then I know, and this is where we can discuss this. And for those watching live, yeah, if you have an opinion, if you have a question on this, if you want to put your 2 cents in, please do. And for those listening later, you can also comment down below. But we do subscribe to certified organic. And I want to clarify, this is always something important we clarify, which is it's not perfect. Like certified in no way, shape, or form are we like certified organic is the way, and you're gonna get zero glyphosate, and you're gonna be immune from all the negative chemicals possible. And I think so many, when we support organic, they go, well, organic uses more pesticides than conventional, and organic still uses herbicides and all of that. And so I think an important piece of context for those that aren't aware is that yes, organic they do use pesticides. But it's things like neem oil. Like neem oil is technically considered a pesticide. A citronella, which is also part of like a bug spray, it's technically an insecticide as well as a pesticide. But these are things derived from natural chemicals. Yes, they're highly concentrated. So sometimes I bite into an orange and I get some of the peel and I go, oh, and it's very bitter. It's very intense. Some of these pesticides are derived from the peel of citrus, but it's in huge concentration. Imagine taking all the citrus peel oil and highly concentrating it. You wouldn't want to get that in your eye. You wouldn't even want to ingest that. It would probably give you a stomach ache. But that's very, very different than going, oh, that citrus spray that, yeah, it'll give me a stomach ache. It's an irritant. It's just as dangerous as glyphosate, which is a completely synthetic broad spectrum herbicide, which is a completely synthetic herbicide that's been known to cause cancer, that's been known to be an endocrine disrupting chemical, that at small parts per billion even can disrupt the gut microbiome and certain pathways biochemically. You see the difference, and it's so disingenuous when I hear dietitians, doctors, researchers online going, organic uses pesticide and conventional uses pesticide, so therefore they're the same, and you should just buy conventional. It's not a big deal. It's so disingenuous, whether they know it or whether they're ignorant to it. For them to speak out like that is a disservice to the patient. It's a disservice to the community, because just like I explained, a citrus concentrate is not the same as 2,4-D, is not the same as glyphosate, is not the same as a lot of these really dangerous chemicals that have been banned even in other countries. So it's pretty wild. And I think it is a concern, and we're not here to be alarmists or make you fearful, but you do have the right, and we're all about empowering our patients to learn about what they're eating and even what's on their food, and to kind of go from there. And really, we should have a government that is supporting us in that, and not really the other way around, where they're almost in opposition with us, which I guess is something I'm getting used to. But it sucks where to put it frankly, it sucks when, where is this context? Why isn't the government protecting us? And then what do we do from here? Like, what are we supposed to do, right? From this, from a level of how you eat to all the way up to the government. So maybe we'll share some of that. But or anyone chiming in, but we can also share kind of I want to share some more studies as well as even some next steps, because I don't want to leave you all listening and those here of just going like doom and gloom, woe is me. It's just not gonna, work out. They're gonna pass this and we're screwed. We're gonna be eating tons of pesticides and that's all we can do. No, we're gonna give you some hope. We're gonna give you some takeaways, but we're just kind of building up to that. Stay tuned for that for sure. Um, I'm looking on Instagram. Oh, cool. I see people on Instagram. Nice. Okay. Let me pull up another thing here. So part of the hope I want to show is that you can all, not that I don't even visit this website a lot, but you can see the status. And so this is the appropriation status. You can see it's not all is not lost, and it's broken up into different categories, and you can kind of see where things are. It's a little disconcerting that it's gone even this far, where the House voted on it, and there are now certain committees voting on it, and you see kind of where it needs to go. So there are many right now just trying to really, the next step is contacting your rep. So wherever you live, contacting your representative. It's really easy to Google. You can say House of Rep. You can say who is my representative on Google, and it'll take you there to their email and phone number. And so you can take action and just comment. And even if you don't have all the details, you don't remember section 453, you can just say, hey, what's the thing on pesticides happening, or whatever it is. You could say section 453. You can say, what's the thing on pesticides? They'll know what you're talking about. You can leave a comment and just voice your opinion on whether you agree. Should we say, okay, there's no liability for these pesticide companies, or should we be like any company out there where, hey, if you're doing something wrong, you can get sued, you can be held accountable. And really what's insane is there's no liability shield for doctors, really. Even we, as Married to Health, we have liability insurance as our practice. And then even individually as dietitians, we have liability insurance just in case. And we're dealing with medical nutrition therapy, but just in case someone goes, hey, you told me the wrong thing to eat and I choked and I did, and they try to like, not to give anyone ideas out there, but like, we give a lot of recommendations. So that comes with a huge responsibility. And again, the patient has responsibility, but there are some people who are very litigation happy, and we have protection on that. Why should we be immune from that? Where's the shield to say, hey, any doctor who operates on you, they're not liable, you can't sue them? I think people would be like, well, what are you talking about? That's insane. Yet we can do an entire company who creates a pesticide that we're saying, oh yeah, they're shielded. That's wild. I just think I don't even get how we're even here, how we even have to defend this, right? It is pretty insane. And I want to so I want to then just kind of bring this back though, because we can get kind of high level, but it goes back to what you're eating. So what can you do? And really, I think this is where what you're eating is a bit of a vote, right? If you are buying into organic, if you are able to afford organic, but it doesn't have to be organic at Costco or Whole Foods. It's even buying into your local farmers market, where a lot of the farmers there are not certified organic, because it is even expensive to be certified organic. But it's going, hey, talking to the direct farmer. For me in Southern California, A lot of our farmers come from Temecula, the Inland Empire, as well as even Bakersfield and up that way. And there's small farms, there's some larger farms, but we're roughly within 5 acres, 5 to 15 acre farms, so small family farms. And you can ask them and go, are you using pesticides? And they say no. We're no spray, we're no pesticides. They're essentially permaculture, regenerative, organic. They just don't have that label because it costs money to have that label. That's great. That is wonderful. It is going to your farmer's market. It is helping. What we do is try to help our patients, but also we try to walk the walk and talk the talk, and also individually buy from local sources. I know Damaris has a family that grows a lot of food. Maggie, you're actually starting your farm. So I don't know if you guys want to chime in on like, what are you guys doing to find, again, it doesn't have to be at Air One or Whole Foods, these fancy grocery stores buying organic. It's just simple ways that you could find your own actual organic food, which is,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, for myself, even before we moved to a, small rural property, I started having this mindset, what can I do? Can I plant anything in a pot in my porch, even when I was living in a condo? So you start small and then you enlarge as you're gaining experience, because each plant behaves differently. There's a lot of learning on how to cultivate food. So yeah, we are learning little by little, but just the idea to have control on how you're growing the food you're going to consume, finding the right spot, how much sunlight, how much water, giving attention of planting things next to each other that are going to interact. So you need, sometimes one plant offers protection to the neighbor plant, right? So all the science that, those who are interested in are able to start small with a little pot of basil, right? Even if you buy a basil plant already grown, now you just maintain that. During the summertime, it's very easy. You're saving money, right, from buying all the herbs you need to buy. So start small and you go from there. Another thing I like to share with my patients, especially low income, so they don't feel discouraged. Oh, I cannot afford anything organic, right? Like you said, go to, local farmers, that may not have the certification, but you can have a conversation, find out what are their practices. But also another practical tip is, the things you eat with the skin are even much more critical to invest in organic versus things that you peel, right? So your bananas, you may not need to go that extra step to buy every single, produce organic. So those are things to make it, also affordable for people that may have, limited finances.
Totally agree. That's cool.
A couple of other things. Sometimes people have access to farms, which is fantastic. When I'm home, things from my mom's organic farm, not certified organic, but nothing sprayed. But I will say that it helps to buy in season because oftentimes the organic are on sale or is at a very affordable price. So that's a really good tip. And then also consider the things that are staples in your home, the things that you're consuming every day, that you're using the skin, like eating the skin or those kinds of things. The things that we do every day like have the biggest impact in setting the foundations in our health. Especially for kids, the research in terms of is more heavy on impacting a child's health than an adult's health because this is the time of their immune system is developing. And a lot of the research around exposure and adverse effects is around those developmentally affected organ systems, like the immune system, and then higher risk of asthma. There was a very recent meta-analysis that came out 2024 on increased risk of asthma and wheating and respiratory infections. And you're thinking like these are the immune system is being built during this time. Same thing with like the lymphomas, that's also the immune system, or our brain and Parkinson's and like focus and concentration issues. These are things that children are exposed to. So if you have a child, like especially during the stage of their life, this is an investment. This is not just, well, let's see what happens. Like think about it this way, especially at this stage, if any stage in life, this is a good stage to be very mindful about what you're feeding your child. And Like James said, talk to farmers, find those resources, find maybe the vegetables that are not the perfect shape but are organic, you know. So there are definitely, if you're open to it, if you are willing to put some effort and work smart around it, I think people would be surprised. Sometimes the organic produce can be cheaper.
Yeah. I purchased from something, it's called Maui Hub, but it's a collection of a lot of like local farmers, and a lot of the farms will put together like produce bags or produce boxes where you pay like a set price, and so they're filling it up with things that they probably have in overabundance, and so you're getting it for a cheaper price. And I love it because it's always different. I don't know what I'm going to get, and so I'm also probably eating a lot more variety of like fruits and vegetables that I might not get if I was at the grocery store and kind of like picking things out for myself. So sometimes I'm trying new things. So, and of course, getting that big variety in your diet, which is so beneficial to your health as well. So those are some of the things that I love to do as well.
And I noticed all these things are just the word alignment comes up because what's interesting is so many when you're doing things that are beneficial, they usually align with other things that are beneficial. And so when you're saying, "Oh, I'm gonna eat more," I mean, even just saying I'm gonna eat more fruits and vegetable is great. But if you align that with, oh, I'm going to be also mindful and go to my local farmers market to see what's in season. So you're adding to that alignment of these healthy habits where you can keep and continue to build on that, right? Where you're going, okay, I'm going to eat more fruits and vegetables. Oh, I'm going to go to see what's in season at the local farmers market. And oh, I'm supporting my local farmers. And oh, that's supporting the local economy. And oh, I'm actually taking away from companies who are using pesticides. So then we're not supporting those companies. And we're showing, so you see how you're just continuing to align and build on these healthy habits and then going and then come to find out whether you know this or not, but this is where you listen to Good Gut Live podcast or you work with a dietitian who's integrative and knowledgeable, but you're going, oh, there's data to show that eating organic helps to keep intact the soil microbiome. And then, oh, the studies that show the soil microbiome is a major indicator of building a healthy human microbiome. And oh, if I have a healthy human microbiome, I avoid things like IBS and SIBO and even things like diabetes. And we're talking about memory loss or like dementia and Alzheimer's. We're seeing all the gut connections with all of that. So you see, I mean, you can continue to build this tower of healthy benefits and healthy habits that really just started, that can start very, very tiny and you just build on it. But you just see I think for some of us we feel powerless. I think individually we're like, man, what can I do? And oh my gosh, they're doing this with the appropriations bill. But you see, I mean, when you focus in and when you just kind of take a deep breath and go, okay, let me start small and build these healthy habits. If you do that today, or whether I know for me, I did it 20 some odd years ago, and that's what's built up for us to be doing all that we do today, right? It starts very tiny, and then before you know it, that time flies where you're like, I can't even remember 5 years passed, and you've built such an amazing alignment of health and alignment of benefits that started with growing a basil pot on your front porch or something, right? It can start so tiny, but really you're hitting and checking so many boxes with just one decision of going, I'm going to eat more plants, I'm going to eat more variety. That's helping your gut, that's helping your local economy, that's helping so many of these ecosystems thrive. And the best part is you're kind of taking away from these large food companies that also happen to be supporting large pesticide companies that then are also supporting large pharmaceutical companies. It's really wild. I think the most perfect example is Bayer Monsanto. Bayer is a large pharmaceutical company, and now they're a large agrochemical company. It's really odd, and it makes sense in a way because really the outer environment is a mirror of our inner environment. So just as we're needing more medication and we're seeing more chronic disease and we're having to go, whether that's supplementation and medication, to me, the supplementation is a lot like our out environment needing fertilizer. and the medication is a lot like the outer environment needing pesticides. And we're so quick to try to put these band-aids on, whether that's the outer big environment or our inner body, without stopping to think, wait, what's at the root of this? Wait, why are we needing more and more pesticides? Why are we now spraying, I mean, billions and billions of pounds of pesticide every year? We don't stop to think, oh, what does the soil actually need? We just keep trying to fix the issue because our goal is, well, we need more and more yield. We need more and more food, even though we waste like 40% of it anyway, which is wild. So anyway, but I mean, these healthy habits are important, and this is where your power, even in whether that's even including not wasting food, because you're going, these farmers market tomatoes are so sweet and delicious. I don't want to waste a single one. Where the ones you're buying at Target taste like nothing and they're sour and bitter, and you're throwing away half the pack. There's something to that, right? Like, I know even our 10-year-old daughter, when we get an organic, delicious watermelon, she doesn't want to waste a single drop of it. She's like, I'm eating this whole thing. I love this. It tastes so good. And even when her friends come over, and maybe it's great to mindfully eat and you don't want to overeat, but when she sees them waste our food, she's like, we got that at the farmer's market. What are you doing? Like, it's so good. And so she even starts to appreciate it, right? And you just develop this new level of consciousness of going like, I know the farmer who grew that. I've been going to that farmer for a decade. Talk with that farmer. I know how much of their blood, sweat, and tears went into that and how good it is. And you develop a new appreciation. You are connected to that food. That's powerful. You can't buy that or bottle it or, try to sneak it into legislation. That's just human connection to each other and to food. It's a beautiful thing. And if my soapbox rant there didn't inspire you to go to the farmer's market, I don't know what will. But yeah.
And when you grow your own food, I think the
Be-
meals that I've been the most excited for were, made from the produce that, like you said, I put my own sweat into it and built from my own soil. So
Yeah. And you can tell the difference too, the flavor concentration, you can immediately tell the difference versus something you bought at the store that who knows how long from being harvested to transportation stored, and the time you bring it home, all those nutrients degrade, right? So I know not everybody can plant a lot, but, do a little pot of something just to get that experience.
And I think it's also a
Totally.
great experience to
Totally.
introduce kids to, because oftentimes the fruits and vegetables that they have tasted are really kind of the more bland ones. And it's really nice to see the joy on their face and their relationship with food when they taste a good quality tomato, peach, whatever it is. And it totally changes their perspective on, oh, I didn't think I liked this, but I might like this one. Yeah.
Totally. And so yeah, so we challenge, all of you listening out there, where it's just starting. It's not getting confused with organic. I mean, again, the confusion of, oh, well, they use pesticides and fertilizers, it's not the same. Oh, well, it's not perfect. Yeah, it was never meant to be perfect. It's a stepping stone to continue to help our soil and get better. Oh, the pesticides don't affect humans. No, they affect microbes. And guess what? Humans have microbes, our soil have microbes. So, if on top of, I know we're talking about section 453, and yes, take action, go to your rep, but also take action and build your consciousness around organic. Don't let these outside people confuse you and make you go like, organic doesn't matter. It totally matters, right? And then start small. So again, you have the power. You can start growing. You can go to your farmer's market. And I got to tell you, my farmer's market is cheaper than any grocery store, even selling conventional food. I get $2 for this huge thing of organic spinach and $2 for this massive romaine lettuce. And when I'm going to the farmer's market, I know what's in season because they're only bringing what's in season. So that part of my brain doesn't have to work of going, wait, what's in season and what I have to pick from? It's just there at the farmer's market. So again, these little things to the big things, you have so much control over, and we're urging you to take action on that for your gut health, for your brain health, for your kids. I mean, everything we talked about today and beyond. I also want to shout out. So definitely call your rep if you can, if you're listening to this live as well as later on, and just check in on what happened. Hopefully, if you're listening to this in the future, all is well. But if not, we can still check in. We can still overturn things and amend things. So there's always hope. Another quick resource I just want to plug on this topic, and we hope to have one of the founders on the podcast very soon, which is non-toxic neighborhoods. And so bringing this back home, bringing this a little bit closer, is realizing that a lot of these pesticides are being sprayed in our neighborhoods. They're either your direct landscaper that you hire, or they're your churches, your schools, the city, the HOA. HOAs are a big one, where they love to just spray everything. And especially here in Orange County, we like things to look like Disneyland. We like it to look perfect. And I always say, just imagine like a golf course where it looks perfect. The grass is like the perfect length and it's all green and beautiful and nothing looks out of place. I say run from that, because it's like, they're using so many chemicals and so many fertilizers, and they're just trying to keep everything perfect. Nature is not perfect. If you've ever been to a regenerative farm, they welcome all kinds of plants and insects, and it's kind of messy, but it's a beauty. There's beauty in it. It's a beautiful mess. So here's another resource, which is Non-Toxic Neighborhoods. They help moms and parents and churches and any organization get the pesticides out of their neighborhood, out of the HOA, out of the schools, and switch them to what's called an organic IPM, or it's an integrative pest management system. So really cool nonprofit here that I definitely wanted to share and make more people aware about. So we hope to go more in depth with non-toxic neighborhoods in the future. If you want to see that, let us know. I'm also, let's see. Oh, we got some comments here. Are there any programs that help people in food deserts get organic produce? That's a great question. And yes, I mean, right off the top of my head for here in California, which is part of it used to be called food stamps, for those that know like food stamps, but it's like it's CalFresh. So CalFresh, which are food vouchers, and you can get organic. And there's many programs in food deserts where they'll bring in, through the CalFresh program, they'll bring in farmers markets into food deserts, and you can use your funds. And this goes back to personal responsibility. If you're lower income, if you're in a food desert, you can use CalFresh at Burger King. You can also use CalFresh at the farmers market. It's your choice, right? And so that goes back to personal responsibility, but there's lots of programs. You can Google that and find a local like CalFresh farmers market near you. For those in California, I don't know if anyone's heard of in other states, because what's funny is everyone here is in a different state.
Yeah, the other thing that nowadays there's a lot of food deliveries, and so that's the plus we have in our society today, that we can get some of these things delivered, and deliveries often don't have such big limits. And when there's an opportunity to use these SNAP benefits or those kinds of things for these deliveries, that's a huge thing. In cities, often there's mobile farmers markets or days where farmers markets are accessible. So sometimes farmers markets are like a permanent thing, and sometimes they're not. So it's like wanting to become aware. Sometimes libraries, community resource centers have this kind of information. There's definitely info out there.
Yes.
Yeah. I've also found that, I've also found that, for instance, frozen berries tend to be a lot cheaper than fresh, and they preserve the nutrients. Some people may be confused of frozen is not going to be as good as fresh, but sometimes they may even be superior because they are harvested at peak and then they are immediately frozen, versus something fresh at a regular grocery store that you don't know how long it's sitting there at a temperature that is not going to be, preserving the nutrients as efficiently as, a freezer temperature. So one time I compare like frozen blueberries, organic frozen blueberries versus the fresh frozen, and it was 8 times cheaper, so it's definitely, good to look into the frozen aisle too.
Yes.
I do want to just want to chime in though, and this might be like, we haven't talked about this a ton yet, but I would rather someone eat more fruits and vegetables than really like hyper focus on whether this is organic or not. Because I think as a society in general, the US has a deficiency in fruit and vegetable consumption. I don't remember the statistic what it is, but I don't remember what it is, but it's between 50 and 100 at least that people are not consuming the daily requirement of fruits and vegetables. So start with that for sure. Like, start with just incorporating, and each change we make, each decision we take, we can take a step closer to what's best for us. And like James said, those changes are having big influences in our life. But I just want to bring that up, that I would rather you not be scared of fruits and vegetables and eat fruits and vegetables than for you to just stay away from it because it wasn't organic. And so I'm not going to have fruits and vegetables for 3 days or a week or whatever.
I totally agree. I'm a big proponent of organic and even certified regenerative organic or regenerative organic certified, which is a new certification. But yeah, I mean, if that's hindering you, where you go somewhere and you're like, oh, I'm not going to eat any fruits or vegetables because I can't find organic. I mean, studies show it's better to still eat the fruits and vegetables. It's better to wash, and there's so many ways. There's great studies to show baking soda. Baking soda, about 1 part, I believe it's 1 tablespoon in 1 liter of water, will remove 89 to 95% of pesticide residues on your plant food. So if you're like, okay, I got the plant foods, great, but I want to also try my best to remove some of these pesticides, just use baking soda and water, and that removes up to 90% in some cases, 95%. And that's great. And you're still able to get hopefully cheaper produce, eat your produce, and then remove pesticide residues. So that's a wonderful tip. On top of the fact that just eating, yeah, and the bigger statistic is saying 95% of Americans aren't even meeting their already low fiber recommended fiber intake. So that is really showing us we're not eating our plant foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, all of the above. So when you're lacking fiber, what does fiber do? Fiber is an amazing binder. We know fiber binds to cholesterol. We know fiber can bind to certain fat and those micelles that go into us and then come out of us. And so what also binds to fat are a lot of toxins, a lot of even synthetic toxins found in pesticides are lipophilic, so they're fat loving. And so when they're binding to our fat, but we're able to excrete excess fat, and that's usually through our defecation, it's going to help if we're having more fiber. There are many really cool studies to show how fiber can bind to a lot of these toxins. They're also binding to excess cholesterol and fat, which are housing a lot of these toxins, and we're able to excrete them out of our body. If you're not getting that fiber, many of you listening are constipated, many Americans are constipated, and it's this vicious cycle where you're not detoxing properly through defecation and urination. You're not eating that fiber to bind to a lot of these pesticides that are even coming in or other chemicals. And you're in a vicious cycle going like, oh, I don't care about organic. I'm also not caring about plants, and I'm feeling terrible. And a lot of these things are connected. So just even that is very important to consider and think about. But wonderful. I think someone said Widlund Barrett on Instagram is saying, I always soak my fresh food in baking soda. I'm so glad you mentioned this. Yes, baking soda is great. And yeah, if you're always soaking it, I mean, it's wonderful. It's so easy. You see so much come off of the food. We even do it with our stuff from the farmer's market because also you have to think like how many hands have touched this from picking to moving, and that's at the farmer's market. That's not even considering the food in the grocery store that sometimes comes from another country. They had to pick it and ship it and move it and box it. It's even just the fact of so many hands have touched it. You should properly clean your produce, right? And the baking soda is great. It takes off those microbes. It takes off, now we know, pesticide residues, and it's so easy to do. And baking soda is not expensive at all. So if you're talking about whether you're in a food desert, whether you're low income, higher income, you can do this, and it's very easy and it's very beneficial. So cool. I'm loving the comments that we're getting. Okay, so I think we've saturated this enough. I think it's wonderful to talk about. Hopefully you're clear, and if you're objecting to our organic stance, let us know in the comments below and why. But I'm very strong supporter of organic. Again, even beyond that, just going, what's being grown locally and in season at my farmer's market. It's even what can I grow? Even that's including sprouting on your counter and just sprouting seeds and legumes, which is amazing. It's going, okay, I'm doing all this. I want to take more action. Call your representatives. Call your representatives. Have them voice to them how important it is that we hold manufacturers for anything, let alone pesticides, accountable. It is very important. And again, a pesticide on organic is not the same as a pesticide on conventional. Very, very different. So that's a lot of what we talked about, and we hope you've learned something. We hope that we've empowered you. We hope you go visit an organic farm or visit a friend who has an amazing garden. You'll see the difference in soil. You'll smell the difference in the food. It's amazing. It's just like you can't describe it unless you're there. And so we look forward to hopefully you joining us on the organic farm. If you go to mary'shealth.com, we have a really cool event coming up in October where you can join us on an organic farm. So make sure you learn more at mary'shealth.com. And we thank everyone for being here. Thank you guys so much for sharing your inputs. We're just a bunch of passionate dietitians, but this comes across our table. I definitely love this topic a lot. And if you want to learn more about this topic, we can do a whole nother episode with non-toxic neighborhoods or even someone else just diving deeper into this topic. So let us know down below. And we thank you all so much. As always, feel with each meal and heal with each meal, and make sure to wash that meal with baking soda and water. All right. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, we'll see you on the Good Gut Live podcast. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Okay.